right, here we go. Hello, everybody. And what we're doing now is we're going to take a look at cloud identity discovery. So what we're going to do is we're going to hop right into the demo and take a look at it. So what we're going to do first is the concept here is it's a secret search, and then what we're going to show here within this particular demo is how this all plays together. So what we're going to do next is we're going to come into our discovery aspect of the demo, and what we're going to see here is our entitlement and threat sources. So what this actually means is that these are all identity sources that are tied back into the cloud identity and discovery platform. So what we're going to do is take a look and see how easy it is to create a new one. First is we're going to come over here to the right hand screen and take a look, hit the drop down, but we can see we've already added these. So I wanted just to show you though how easy it is. You can add these within minutes. So what we're going to do is focus more so on the ones we've already added and they're already synced. So the fascinating thing about cloud identity and discovery is that what's going to happen there is going to circulate through and it's going to canvas all of your identities in your particular cloud environment and bring those back into a view that we're going to take a closer look at here in a moment, which is going to show you where your vulnerabilities are actually, and where some actual threat actors could actually take place. So we're going to take a look at that here in a moment. So right now we're taking a look at all the existing identity sources that are within the platform right now. And so we brought these in here and you can see that they're synced and we can see the last sync date and all that good stuff. So next thing we're going to take a look at is why don't we just drill down in on Azure and Entra ID. So let's take a look at that first. So we can take a look at the details here and we can see that this is fully configured and we can see that this is ready to go. If we pop back over here and we're to take a look at like AWS, you're going to see the same thing. These are all ready to go and we can see that these are already set up. So like what happens though when we add a new identity source into cloud identity and discovery is that what's going to happen there is that it takes about a day for that to fully circulate and get all the information back and pull it together so you can actually see it within the console. So we're going to take a look at that here in a moment as well. So why don't we take a look next at our checks here. So checks is one of those ways that we can take a look at what exists within our infrastructure, and we can see here our posture score is a 71%. Not ideal, but ideally what we're trying to do is hit a much higher number. But the piece of this is a demo environment, so we do have some threat actors, we do have some vulnerabilities in place, and we're going to show that here in a moment. So we're going to first take a look at some failed checks. Okay, so if we're to look at first of all like super admins, so how many super admins do we have in the environment? How many shadow admins? Okay, so a shadow admin is going to be defined as typically somebody that can create another identity by themselves, but they're not an admin. So we're going to take a look at that and make sure that that is kind of whittled down as much as possible. All right, so let's just take a look at super admins. So we're going to take a look at super admins. We can see our threshold here is 2, and let's take a look here, but we have more than 2 entries in here. So that's the reason why we're getting a failure. So we could increase our threshold and hit save, and then that would, if we knew that some of these identities were actually super admins, and we knew that we needed to have, say, 5 admins, we would just set the threshold to 5, okay? However, one other thing we can do with this particular view, which is pretty handy, is we can exclude these identities, and it's essentially whitelisting them. So if we wanted to come over to Tom Rosenfeld, for example, and we wanted to exclude him because we know that he's a super admin, we just click that and whitelist him into the effect, and then that particular identity would stop failing within this report. So let's take a look now at we have the super admins. Now let's take a look at our shadow admins. So our shadow admins, we have a little bit higher threshold. So we're taking a look at, we have 11 identities that are in effect here, and we see that this is also failed. We can see that possibly we don't want any of these identities to be shadow admins. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take remediation steps. So let's take a look at that. So we're going to say, so shadow admin has highly sensitive privileges that can perform very risky actions. And what we're going to do there is we can just come in here and let's come back over here to the shadow admins here. Boom. Okay, boom. So we can come in here and we can actually click on, like, say, Benjamin King, okay? And then what we can do is we either exclude that particular identity, or include him. So he's already included it within the report. So we don't necessarily need to take any action, because the system in of itself is going to take the action. The only reason why we would do an exclude is to, again, whitelist that particular identity. All right. So moving on here, let's take a look at a visual representation of our risks. So that is going to be our look here. So we can see, again, we have our score here. We have 71% cutting across here. All of these particular values that we're finding within this particular report have been synchronized with the cloud. So whether it's AWS or Entra ID or Ping Identity or any of those particular applications or SaaS applications, what we're doing is we're pulling those identities back. It's canvassing all of the identities across the board, whether they're known identities, again, or shadow admin identities, or maybe identities that are overprivileged. So we're going to find those as well. And then what we're going to do is the connection to these particular target systems is controlled by an API. So the API is a very secure way of interacting with these. And so what that's going to do, again, is going to pull back all of our information and then make that so we can take action on it. So let's take a look more at how we're going to take a look at, possibly take a look at one of the past ones. So we can see that this one here is, we have no affected, we have removed partial, suspended, disabled user accounts. So we can see here in this particular view that there are no affected identities in here. So this is a very useful report, because what it's going to do is going to show you, again, all of the disabled users that are within the system that still hold privilege. And so with that in mind, what we want to do is we want to have this like it is a 0. So this is a good state here. That's the reason why it passed. Okay. So, and the other thing that's going to happen within these identities and how we're synchronizing the process here is that it does a pass scan of about 3 hours, and that's where your synchronization process takes place. So, and then any new net new alerts will be sent out to the admins. So not only can you see the view of how this all works within in the platform here within Cloud Identity and Discovery, we can see also that we're going to get alerts to the fact that maybe a new shadow admin appeared, or we have an overprivileged user. And so we can pick that up within this particular process, this particular module. Let's continue on here. Let's take a look now at global admins. Let me just kind of sort this out here so I can see what we got. Parse this, boom. There we go. Limit global admins. So we see that. So what we have here is we have 10 global admins, and we can see that this failed only because we set our threshold at 9. But we have 10 identities, IDs that are showing up here. So again, what we could do if we wanted this to pass, and we knew that one of these was a global admin, we could just exclude it, or we could increase our threshold. So that's one of the ways we can accommodate this particular report. But in the case of global admins, as we all know, with Microsoft and their platform and Entra ID, what we're trying to do is reduce the amount of global admins. So this is a great report to give you visibility into how that's being handled when you're working with Microsoft. So continuing on, let's take a look at some other aspects here. So one of the things that we're going to be able to do on our roadmap, if we're to take a look at that, is as we kind of channel up here. So what we did is essentially at the beginning of the year is that in January we acquired a company called Authamize, which gave us this capability. But what we're doing is we're progressively bringing this into our platform, which is going to be the kind of the single pane of glass for all identity security. So what this is doing, and we're at kind of the May, June, September timeframe right now. And so what we're wanting to do is eventually, so we're detecting all the identities right now, but we're going to be able to vault them or even detect that they have MFA enabled or not. So these are things that we're enabling within our platform, so you'll be able to detect that. Great reporting that's going to be ensuing from this. And it gives you just the ability to have quick findings, to be able to immediately get right to the cut to the chase and get to where the problems are within the identity, not only from the dashboard perspective, but from alerts perspective. So wanted to bring that to your attention as well. All of this, by the way, we can see that if we come into, if I was a bounce back here to say inventory and come into collections, we can see all of our different collections here within sessions. We can even drill down into sessions that are live. We can terminate sessions and so forth, all within this platform. So that's what I wanted to bring to your attention today with this particular demo. And thank you for watching. And that is about it. And let me know if you have any questions. Thank you very much.